experience, or you go to a workshop, you have an experience, and you raise your, you have a very positive experience, and then you come home, and the balance is not there. The balance is not there, and he's being met with the resistance, and then everything goes crashing. There's nothing to do. There's nobody to talk to. When really, there's just a lack of communication. Because in the right communication, everything is done. Everything is doable. If I'm sitting here and I'm like, get me a glass of water. Why? Because I'm sitting. Well, I'm sitting too. But if I'm like, can you please get me a glass of water, a cup of water? Sure. So this is, it's all in communication. It's all levels of communication. How to align with what I'm trying to get across and the point that I'm trying to communicate with. Once this alignment is done, it's called a yichud. It's called oneness. You're getting to one. Right now, there's a distance between whatever you want, whatever your desire is. There is something in the way of that desire. A lot of these desires, we have to check the desire. You can say, I have a desire to have A, B, C, and D. I'm specifically not using any type of mushal because I don't want to put anybody's desires onto any sort of judgment. So we have to check if the desire is not being able to manifest, then you have to check the desire where it's coming from. So is the desire coming from a positive place? Is it coming from a place of, it's a healthy place? Or as you are asking for this desire and you're trying to manifest this desire to happen, you're also desiring to be, the reason I want that thing is to feel better. I want this strawberry to feel better. I'm going to eat the strawberry to feel better. But at the same time, there may be an allergic reaction that I'm having to the strawberry. So now we're in a conflict over here. I want something that my higher conscience is rejecting. My higher conscience knows well-being, but my lower conscience, physical, thinks that this is good for me. So this is where the conflict starts. So really what we're talking about here is miscommunication. And if we can align ourselves with our desires, then we're in flow. It's called a yichud. And that's our whole job and purpose here in this world, in physical time and space. So this is how this works. There's many different consciousness. There's many different manifestations. Everything is a manifestation, emanation. Everything is a consciousness. You can jump from one consciousness to the highest consciousness in 1 second. If you hear good news, somebody shares something exciting with you, and you're feeling good, and you're present with yourself, you're in a different consciousness right now. And if you daven from that place, you will receive way faster because it's like trying to have a child. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. It's how you're aligned, and everything is aligned with it. So too, as we're talking about everything that we are doing, in throughout our lives. Now, it happens to be that this space that we are in right now, this consciousness that we're in right now, is measured in time and space. There's higher consciousness, is also measured, but not there's time. There's time, zman, and there's makom, there is space, but it's not measured by the table and my house and my car. It's not measured like that, and it's not measured by I need to accomplish A, B, C, and D over the next couple of days, hours, years, life. The next conscious, so there's 4 levels. There's 4 main consciousness of levels that we have worlds, which is Olam Asiyah, which is the physical world that we're in right now, which everything is measured in time and space physically. Then there is Yitzira, which is measured through Gemara. That's how all the Masechtas were designed. That's how you measure where you're at. That's why you have the tzaddikim didn't live by the time. They lived by, there's a famous story where the Alter Rebbe was in prison for 50 days or something, and the Tsar came to see him, and he asked what time it is, and the Alter Rebbe responded the time, and he asked him, how do you know the time? He's like, I'm doing Mishnayos, and I know where I'm up to. That's one of the, also he was in a different space they saw things differently than what we see. So we can see things through the physical eye, and through the physical eye, I need a clock in order to see space, and or you can raise the consciousness, and if it's the same way Avraham Avinu was able to go into fire and he didn't get burned, right? The famous story that he went into the Kivshan Aish and he wasn't burned. So it's a nice story, but if you don't have the context, then it looks like some story that it's not doable. Like it's just a story, and if we don't connect to the story that we know, it just becomes another additive to on top of everything else that I'm dealing with. It's just another thing that I need to hulk up, and it doesn't mean anything. But let's talk about it. Let's see why didn't he get burned? How is that possible? So there are different things that are happening throughout the day that I'm measuring my well-being. If this works out, then my day went well. If this doesn't work out, if somebody said something or if my friend got something, then I'm measuring my success or my lack of success based on that. The more, so these are different filters in time and space. In other words, I'm over here, and then between me and my goal that I want to accomplish, there is layers and layers of childhood trauma or childhood too much indulgence or whatever it was. So when we're dealing with Avraham Avinu was in such a level that he was Enochi Ofer Ve'efer. He was to the point that it was earth, like his consciousness. He was in such a level that he held himself as nothing, and then he worked on himself to the point that where he became Efer, which is dust. Dust takes up no space. You can't even communicate with it. If you talk too loud next to it, the air coming out of your mouth is going to blow it away. It's dust. So with that consciousness, with that in mind, he was able to walk into the fire, and he took up zero space, so the fire couldn't touch him. Now, when Nimrod saw that, he did not like that at all, because Nimrod was Ish Tzai B'Fiv. He understood. He knew the system very well. He knew he was such a powerful man that he was able to put the people into some sort of a bubble. Some sort of a magic show he was able to put them into, and they lived through that bubble. They were afraid of him. He was able to suppress them or raise them, so nobody wanted to be on his wrong side. And he was also able to, literally, he was a powerful man. He was able to kill anybody he wanted, physically, emotionally, mentally. Similarly to what's happening right now. The Nimrod of our times, which is the news, one level of control, they keep you in a bubble. It's just pumping fear, and as long as you are dominated by what their story is, you are under their auspices, and you will surrender them. What happens when you surrender? What do they have from it? That somebody in Muncie or Williamsburg is in fear. What are we dealing with? Really? Like the guy is sitting in the news and he has a cheshbon over here, conspiracy theory. It's very simple. When the Eibishter showed him that he told him he's going to have a child. A child means, not a child as, once again, be mindful, not a child that I want a child. It was a child that he was a consciousness that was connected to a flow, a very direct line to that thing that created everything. And he said, it's not going to end over here. You're going to have a child, which is going to be called Yitzchak, and he's going to continue this consciousness. He's going to deliver it all the way down. Avram looked, he was the smartest man. It was Avram, he was Chesed, he was Chachma, he saw it as like, there's no way that in 2022 my Chaver are going to be able to figure out how to see what I see. It's not possible. There's so many distractions, there's so many filters, so many layers, that there is no way they're going to connect to that. Ibsen said, I got you. It will work. He's like, promise me. In other words, I want a handshake on it. I want a handshake because I want this thing to be etched in stone. I want this thing to be etched into existence, into consciousness, that nothing can shake this. This is going to be there forever because I see what it's going to take to hold on to this. Ibsen said, no problem. I got a program. It's a program. It's a show. There's going to be four exiles that we're going to go through. Each exile that these neshamas, I'm going to take this consciousness, I'm going to put them into a body. There's going to be 4 body types that they're going to embody, and from that body they're going to there's going to be different conflicts and different resistance and desires, and it's almost like it's called batisha. It's like hitting, like when you take two rocks and you keep hitting and they chip away at each other, chip away until the diamond is left. So the first thing we did is we went into Mitzrayim, and over there we got, we went into such a place that it's called Das Tachten, where it's called Tregoi Plus, where the baby's in the mother's womb is, when the baby's in the mother's womb, he's rolled into three. His head is in between his legs. He sits like this. What that means is not that he's comfortable that way. It's just that I want you to start looking at it from top down, not from bottom up, that this is the way it is. Just start paying attention and connect to it. What that means is called Netzach Hod Yesod. Now again, I'm going to say stuff. If you don't understand it, just listen to it. It's like olive base. Listen to it once, twice. You don't necessarily have to understand it. Just feel it. That's how you can just get there. You don't need to. I did it yesterday, but this year, for the guys, for the men, for us, for everybody. The Moiranam says that learning Torah and knowing the words is very cute, but that's not what the purpose is. It's like you can know the whole shas. That's not the purpose. The purpose is I want you to go above the letters, and it's specifically a sefer, not a Chabad sefer, not some sefer that. It's a sefer that every Hasidic home has, the Moiranam, and he says it clearly that that's not what it's about. Fine. So we're going to go with that, and I'm just building. We're going to go into the candles in a minute. So we went into. So when the child is in the mother's womb, he's rolled into three, and this is also applicable to Pesach. This is the whole Pesach program. What happens is that when the child is rolled into three, because nothing else is functioning in the body, only Netzach Hod Yesod, which is dummy world. Okay? Before we continue, why don't everybody just take a deep breath? Let's just get present. Just relax your mouth, your jaws, and just inhale. And don't be afraid to close your eyes if you want to get into it. Okay? Or keep your eyes open. So if you just get present and bring your attention to the back of your head. So the back of the head is where everything is happening. That's called Das. That's where we're connecting. That's where when we put on the film. The Kashashil film is in the back of the head. There's like a V shape. It's called the pineal gland. It's called many different things, but we call it Das. That's where we are connecting anything that you know innately, anything that you are aware of innately, anything that you are connected to, just knowing it. That is Das. Anything that everything that you know innately, that's Nahi, that's not Tzachad Yisrael, but anything that you're connected to, I love myself, my husband, I don't, I do, a resistance connection. This connection is all happening in the Das. Fine. When the baby's in the mother's womb, he has no Das. He's completely surrendered to, that's where he is. How does an animal know not to run into the fire? Why does an animal run into fire? How does he know to run away from another animal chasing him? That is innately built into the system. It's a program. It's a program. The energy, the consciousness is in the mothership, and it's being programmed, and it knows this innately. The animal. An animal is Nahi. That's a Chaydi. He walks, he eats, he chases him, he runs. You make nice to him, he responds. A lion, if you sit next to him, completely calm, no threat, he's not going to react. You can see actually sometimes when he jumps an animal, a little newborn that was just born, and it doesn't move, he can't eat it. He doesn't know what to do with it. They play with it, and it's like, you can see it on YouTube, every now and then there's like this lucky little whatever is born there, and it just came out, and he comes to it, and he doesn't even know to be scared. He just stands there, and he looks, he plays with it, he tries to. Why? Because he needs something to trigger it. If he's not triggered, he can't respond to it. So too, we are the same way. We can be triggered positive or negative. We have been triggered most our lives negatively, from the minute we're conceived. Any type of conflict that's going on between husband and wife, it's layers and layers and layers of the child, and then you come out being born into complete chaos, lights and screaming and disrespect, just talking to it, pulling it, pushing it, poking it, giving it an identity, and all that is all part of the resistance and all part of what you are experiencing, the resistance to self-love, to accepting yourself. And then as we go on through life, we're like open vessels, open energies, raw. Imagine that your body is a sensor, has billions of sensors, and you're receiving. It's so open, it's so receptive that imagine like a soft ball of light that, the eye. There's the eye, the glass, the eye and the glass, and then you touch it, and whatever you put your hand, the static follows you. You guys know what I'm talking about? No? There's the eyeball, you go to the eye doctor, or somewhere, there's an eye, and then it has the veins, and whatever you touch it picks up the static, whatever your finger is. Okay, now you'll look out for it. So is a child. Anywhere you touch it, he picks up. You say something positive, you can't do right or wrong with it. Even if you tell a child, you're going to be fine, you're going to know you're going to know the test, you always know. We just put a label in, we just judged him positively. Poor little thing doesn't want to disappoint out your mommy, and he has the pressure now that he needs to deliver, and he tries, and he really can't. There's a little break there. Now, the purpose of this break is, so we go through life, and by the time we're 15, 16, 18, 20, we're fully damaged. But what's the purpose? What's the purpose of that? The purpose is that before the damage is done, you're not aware of who you are. You have no clue. The child just walks in, he's so tamimus, he receives he everything, anything, he takes anything on. The reason that these triggers are there, that now we know, I'm aware that I get hurt when I'm not seen, I'm aware that I get hurt when somebody screams at me, or when I'm not being appreciated. All these that was the purpose of creation. Okay? We're going to go into that further, but we're going to keep moving.
I have a quick question.
Please.
Is it a mistake what was happening, the pain and the hurt, or is that the curriculum?
Thank you for asking the question, so I know where we're at. It's by design.
So it's not a mistake.
It's not a mistake. It's so we'll do it. It's like this. When the water is in the ocean, it's not aware of its existence. The water does not know it exists. It's completely surrendered. It's called the Weisz. It's called Davik. He's Davik to its source. The fish in the water, it's called Alma de Iskasya and Alma de Isgalia. The tzaddikim are called Alma de Iskasya. Tzaddikim are called like the fish in the water. That's why we eat fish Friday night, because all tzaddikim, they go into the water. Why do they go into the water? Why do they come back into fish? Because they have no ego. They just surrendered. The tzaddik is perfectly aligned with himself. He doesn't get upset. He doesn't get angry. And when he gets upset and angry, it's with a purpose. It's coming through him, and he just wants to align somebody else. So the water is there. Now, what's the purpose then? If before a world was created, nobody knew of its existence, nobody knew of the greatness, nobody knows the greatness of you until you have all the potential to cook and bake and clean, or whatever your expression is. Nobody knows. You're sitting with yourself. So he wanted to create something that people can appreciate him. He wanted to share his kindness because he's kind and he has compassion. He wanted to create something that people can see him. It's really the right word to use for our creator, which is Eibishter, and I use specifically the word creator because the level of abuse that we endured, I don't know about you guys, but I know what it is. Eibishter, it's just a word that we don't want to hear. It means it's a lot of pain. It's stress, Erev Shabbos stress, Erev Kippur stress. The Eibishter is just learn and get up early. There's abuse, so we use a different word just to trick the ego. That's all, but it's the same thing. We'll just use that. So he's so delicate that it's almost like we can say misken. You know the word misken is? He's a rechmunis. He's a rechmunis, but not like that. He's a rechmunis as in, his candy is strawberries, blueberries. Like, who thinks of something like this? His toys are the clouds. These are that's his way of expression. And it's, he's so delicate, and we are such animals that we didn't know how to deal with it, right? It's just like when it's too good, we stop it. When it's too good, if the wife is too kind to the husband, at some point, we go on a vacation, there's a fight. What? We're supposed to have a good time now. Where's this coming from? It's our animal that was abused, or let's put it this way, from 1 to 10, 10 is the highest level of connection, 1 is the lowest. We come into the world, I hope, at 8. And we don't, because it's a stressful life for the parents, even as they're carrying us, it's very stressful. It's fine, it's by design, it's a beautiful process. It forced us to do all this, to be in this space. So the vart is that,
She has a question.
Numbers
1 to 10, and if I was pushed down to number 3 or 5, if I'm going to receive a level of compassion at number 6, I'm going to spit that thing up, just like a child that had too much food is going to spit it up right back at you. Can't take it anymore. It's enough, too much. This is what we do. We hurt where we were hurt. Why? What does that mean? I hurt where I was hurt. I'm going to respond only. Let's just say, even if I was restricted and I had no nasha, no candy all my life, and I'm going to give my kids. I'm ruining it. It's almost not possible to do it right. Let's put it this way.
That was my question.
You can't get it right. The only way to get it right is by becoming aware of where I am blocked, and from there find myself. Now remember this, the beauty of this is that children, you don't need to talk to them. They get it. If I walk in the house and I'm nervous, they stay away. You have to say nothing. And if I walk in the house and I'm nervous and I smile, I just officially infected my child with the virus. Because now he thinks that this is what happiness looks like. So he's going to come home kicking his feet while being excited, and I'm going to get married. I'm going to be my husband, my wife, the same way. Yeah, I'm okay. When I'm really just ready to break a table. Right? So now the next level
Isn't officially smile supposed to change your...
Yes, good, because we're conscious people. But I'm talking about, we're starting from the back.
Oh, okay.
But yes, smile, let it happen, and the way we've been doing it in the check-ins and what we've been experimenting with, and it works, is if I'm having a good moment, 1:30 in the afternoon, I'm feeling good, everything worked, and I just feel I'm in a place of compassion, and I want to express, don't wait till 6 o'clock when he comes home, or 4 o'clock when your child comes home. Immediately send a text to whoever you are, your friend, your mother, your wife, your husband, your child, thinking of you, love you, if that's okay. Why? Because 1:30, there is a yichud. You just connected to something pure. There's a powerful moment. Between 1:30 and 6 o'clock, stuff is going to happen. Okay, by the time 6 o'clock comes, you're a mess. Whatever happened, disappointment, and this friend called you to share this amazing story that this other friend is not well, or whatever we feel the desire that in order to connect, because we're operating at a lower frequency, at number 4 or 5, I think that I need to communicate. My conversations are from number 4 and 5. So I need to call up my friend and I need to share something. So what's the conversation going to be? I'm looking for everything painful to share, or a little bit painful to share, in order to communicate, instead of, we can just get on the phone and not talk, or like, hey, what's that?
I said, then why get on the phone?
Good, but if we have to get on the phone, I don't know. We'll get
I
there.
don't think women would do it. Maybe men.
We're gonna get the women are gonna get there too. We're going to Uman together. We're going to Uman together. And listen, can you imagine having a home where both are aligned, where you just have the space to be the woman you want to be, where you can light the candles Friday night and get into it. I mean, it's a real process. You cover your eyes and to be present and just know that everybody around you is mindful of what's going on. As mindful as this, like I'm present right now. Can you imagine that we open up your eyes and the kids everybody's where they need to be? It's game over. When that happens, the children, and everybody else, everything falls into place. Somebody asked yesterday, we were talking about Pesach, and I encouraged to drink the first 2 cups, like a proper glass of wine, because of the whole process of where we're going into. So he's like, but what about the wife and the kids? Like if I drink that much, well, that's maybe a little exaggerating, depending on how much you can handle. But handle does not mean handle as in like gather. Handle means like how much pain you endure that you need that much to get you where you need to be. Okay. All right. So the answer to like if I take this like I have a wife and children, which is a beautiful thing. Last year nobody asked the question. The answer is that if you are at that space, nothing needs to be said. The wife and children are going to be exactly where they need to be. One will be sleeping, one will be just staring at the ceiling, and the wife will be just having a good time, and the other one will ask, can we eat already? Can we eat already? It's a beautiful seder. It's exactly the way it needs to be. Okay, so whatever needs to be done. So now, the child. The child is in the, how much time we have? I mean, we're still good, but I just want to, till 2? From 12:30 to 1:30 till 2 o'clock officially, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, 2 o'clock, everybody's good till 2?
Depends on the buses.
What?
Anybody has
2 o'clock
earlier
work?
than 2 bus?
2 o'clock work.
Exactly, so I have to
Perfect, okay. Done. Alright, so we have enough time, we're good. So, the child is Treigoy class, which means that right now he receives food from his mother, not from here, from his stomach, and he's being programmed. He has no das. He's not thinking. He's completely surrendered. Yes, the child in the mother's womb learns Kol Torah. That is true. It's confirmed by Baal Shem Tov, Chassidus. There's a candle above his head, and they learn. What does that mean? You learn Torah. It means that we are in a consciousness that we're just downloading high content stuff. We're in that space. We're in a mikveh full of light. We understand everything, you know everything, you're at peace, you're perfectly fine. Once the child comes out, then we start building Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, we start building the different midas, and I'm going to go into that in a second. Then when we get at the age of 12 for a woman, the age of 13 for a man, that's when Das comes in. Das means understanding. I'm starting to understand. I'm starting to connect the dots. Why am I making a bracha? Why do I say thank you? Why can't I do this? There's consequences. I'm starting to understand what's going on. When we were in Mitzrayim, there was no das. We were like babies in the mother's womb. We had no clue. It was so bad that we didn't even know there was something wrong. It was so bad that I said it once, and we were like Mexicans that were just happy to do your day's work. You didn't need anything, you didn't want anything, you were perfectly fine with doing your 9 to 5 and going home. Except it was much worse than that. It was at the level where a 70-year-old man with a long white beard was being beaten by a 5-year-old child, as brought down on the Medrash. That we had no sense of identity. We were just nothing. Because what happened is that Avram, our Zayda, said, I want all my children to see the stars. The Eivsha showed him the stars. It's like, I want all my children to see the stars. by going into that program in Mitzrayim, that's what triggered us, put such a squeeze on the existence, such a drain and such a lack of, that by the time we were ready, we were nice and primed and right to go, we knew exactly where we need to be without any words having to be said. We right away knew as soon as it cracked, Piachiros, it's like that's when the water broke. Kriyas Yamsef, we walked out literally of the mother's womb. That's what it walked out, and that's when we gained our das. It's called Dar Hadeh, and the Dar Midu Dar Hadeh, where we finally connected everything together.
What does the part that we didn't have anything have to do with the part that we got the das?
Again,
What
is
is
the part?
that we didn't know anything?
Nahi, Netzach Yisod, that's the child in the mother's womb.
Right. Oh, okay. So just okay.
So what was happening
No,
there?
I mean to say if there's any connection because of this. This is what happened. No, it doesn't have to do.
Yes and no. Yes and no. Good. Yes and no. No, that if we didn't have a higher conscience, then all that would happen is that we would come out and we would just eat steak. It's a siesta. It's a beautiful time. What's that? Yeah, we would be indulging business ayam. Everybody grabbed whatever there was, gold and silver, and Moshe had to go, hello guys, what are you doing? We gotta move. Enough with this. We got carried away. But because we have a higher conscience, what does that mean we have a higher conscience? First, let's see what happens. Because we have a higher conscience, immediately it's like this, the Tempur-Pedic mattress. It's the second time I'm using this module this week. I don't know who was with me. Alright. So, the mattress comes in you can buy on Amazon the mattress. It comes in a little box, and then the minute you open it up, so because we have a higher conscience, we just exploded immediately. How did we explode? What happened that we exploded? There was a tippa from Moich Ha'av. There was a drop of light that was sprinkled onto our consciousness when the time came, and from there we expanded. And I'm jumping for a second just to go in, and that there's so much to talk about. We're gonna have another show before Pesach, right? Are we? Okay, good, fine. So I'm not gonna jump. So we'll go slowly because it's a rich topic and it's important. But let's just get it in for a second. A child is conceived from the father's brain. It's a high conscious thing. It's nothing. It's air. It's a machshava. It's a thought. From that thought, it goes down into das. V'adam yada schava. From das it means that I'm makasha. I become one with the other part, my counterpart. From there, it goes down the spine, goes into the mother. This is chachma. It has no meaning. It has no understanding. It has no shape. It doesn't look like anything. It's chachma. You can't understand it. It's completely surrendered to where it needs to be. It goes into the mother. The mother is Bina. Bina has 49 or 50 levels of understanding. She has such power, such level of wisdom, Chachma is, let me just translate this. Chachma is wisdom, and Bina is understanding. Das is connection. She has such levels, so you have 49 levels of understanding. Each level has 10. So if you take 49 times 10 and you do the math with that, it's endless. To the point where she can take something that is just a light, a thought, and turn it into a baby. That grows up into being something that rebels against her. Okay? And then eventually will come back home. It has no choice. It will come back home. It will come back home. It has to. So we all go back to the source. We all go back. We have no choice. It's a magnetic field. We just have to take off. We go further. For the further it goes, the higher conscious it is. Mazel tov. So after Shiur comes Tikkun. After the break comes the correction.
Who has the bottle?
What's that?
Anybody want?
Wine?
Yes.
I mean, please.
We have to be in the same frequency.
Just doing this so less of a step.
amazing that we could create such a whole person just from a thought. I think we're really amazing.
It's super amazing. Now, I'm going to leave a few minutes to talk. We're still a bit.
Yeah.
No one's taking it.
There's more glasses there. Here, pass the wine down. Here, take it. So now what happened was Mitzrayim. We're in Mitzrayim. From Mitzrayim we went to Buvel, and then from Buvel we went to Asher. He spread us all out into the 10 tribes, and then Shevet Yehuda held down for the longest, and then here we are now, Rome, and then we're in Golis America, which is every Golis we embody different bodies, different body types. Right now it's like a lot of indulgence. That's why we have some peace. Nobody's really bothering us, because when the war was, when we were competing, when we were being triggered for for the physical, they wanted to kill us. Because remember, we're a consciousness that contradicts any other conscience. Because we're the truth. There's the ultimate truth. We'll build on that. It's important. What they said that in Chayder, that when Mashiach comes and the Goyim will be our slaves and all that, it wasn't said the right way, but that's pretty much the case. Okay, not like that, but like that. It's not that the lion and the tiger don't measure their strength. The lion and the sheep, they don't measure like I'm bigger than you. It's just a matter of fact, and they're totally fine with it. Okay, it's not a contradiction. So now we'll go to Old Machshava, and then we'll go to Adam Rishon and Chava, and we'll go to the candles, and we'll wrap it up. One more thing. Everything that's happening here right now, our existence is not from here to here, right? The way Choshech has us trained is that my existence is from here to here. This is who I am. Okay? That's not the case. My existence is when Creator wanted to create the world. Since He's endless, He doesn't stop. It goes. It's endless. But He wanted us to be able to experience Him. So what did He do? He said, die. He said, stop. Enough. The minute He said, Baruch She'amar Elohim, die, the minute He said enough, we came into play. What does that look like? The cake, it's soft. You put it in the oven, the top has a crust. We are the crust. Don't look at yourself as... Right now, the way Choshech, the way Parai has us wrapped up in our bubble is that my existence is whatever your existence is, whatever it is, my parnasa, my house, my home, and my kids and all that. That's not who you are. We're not really measured that I can't walk through the wall. That's not who I really am. That is called chomer. It's called physical, and that's why Parai worked us b'chomer u'b'levenim. He worked us with chomer, which is material, and levenim, which is tzigul, cement. We became so hard and so harsh that we turned into chomer levenim. My existence is so. He said, she said, I said, I know, yes, no, I am going, I'm not going, I'm getting hurt, all that. False, not true. This is where we end, and from here goes all the way back to your father, your mother, her father, her mother, go back to Adam Rishon. Adam Rishon is the collective consciousness of from where we came from. There was one person, we were all combined into one. We were in one piece, and then because we ate from the Eitz Hadas, Eitz Hadas means that it gave us, we became aware of ourselves. It's like going into the pool. Before you walk in, you're warm, and then you go in, you come out, and you're cold. You feel your body. You become aware. Your sensors are on. That's what happened. We were all one. We were able to tolerate ourselves. We're totally fine that we were able to fit into one body. But then, the minute we ate from the Eitz Hadas, we became aware of ourselves, and once I became aware of ourselves, what was the first thing they said? They covered themselves and they asked, "Am I good enough? Am I fine? Am I pretty enough? Am I? What's going to be tomorrow? How am I going to live tomorrow? And yesterday I didn't have. What if I will never have like yesterday again? So I'm going to give." So what happened is it started spinning, until we went from point nukuda, where we came from, into I have a 10-year retirement fund, then I have a 20-year retirement fund. I have this is now a 60-year yield. Really? 60 years ahead? Like I'm planning 60 years ahead? So it was an amazing illusion that Nimrod put us into, that we were all afraid of. We all signed up to the program because there was no choice. You have no choice. Only Shavit Levi was able to be out of that consciousness. The rest of us, even if you knew it, even if you were aware of what's going on, I still have to pay my car and my bills. If not, there's no food, right? That's false too. There will be food and the car will be paid regardless. It has no choice. But it's a mission. We have to get there. You have to really own it to be there. So that's when we're perfectly aligned. For now, I still have to charge $26. Okay, so Shamavai, just give up game. It's something. So basically, what happens is that no, there has to be it's important to have an exchange. If somebody can, they can, but it's important to do the handshake. You will integrate much better. So what happens is that die enough, and then all the way back to the beginning of time to other Mauritian. When we ate from the Eitz Hadas, we started questioning. That's when fragmentation started happening. Fragmentation happened to the point where it takes an hour to get from here to Muncie, from Muncie to Brooklyn. It takes 11 hours to 10 hours to go to Israel, because my ego can't process that I'm just in Israel, that I am present in the moment. I don't need to go anywhere. I can just be present in the moment.
That's how we can understand Kvitz Saderech.
Yes, exactly. Yes, being present in the moment.
So why is there a mitzvah to move to Israel? I could have it still here.
Yes, listen, good, very good. That's why if you read the news the right way, when the Israel closed their borders, you can say, "Oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And I need a car to go, and I need this and need that." Or you can tap into high consciousness. High consciousness is like what's happening right now. Right now, the message is coming that we're not going to Israel. Machdu et Israel. You don't need to go to Israel. You can be right here, present in the moment, and make it happen over here. And the Rebbe talks about it. It's trippy stuff, but if you're open-minded, which the Rebbe, I'm talking about the Lubavitcher Rebbe, it's stuff that he was saying, and at the last two weeks before he went into his stroke, he said, "I've done everything I can. Now you guys do whatever you can." In other words, I keep hammering the message to your head where it's at, but you guys are not ready to be present with it. I have to expire, and you can come and meet me. I'll be waiting, type of thing. We'll get to that. So what happened was that's exactly the point, to be present in the moment. Now, when COVID came, and that's called we'll do the COVID thing for whoever still has fear about COVID. Okay, Ukraine. If it's not COVID, it's going to be Ukraine. It's going to be terrorism. It's going to be 5 people shooting in Bnei Brak.
Shortage of food.
What's shortage of food? That's a beautiful thing. It's Arbe. It's the next market. It's the next plague. That means that stuff is moving. You have a choice. You can get into the spin and be shredded into pieces, or the faster they spin, the higher you go. How high do I need to go? To the point where I feel no fear. Exactly. Throughout COVID, the mikvahs were open, shuls. There was a period that we had to go in lockdown to get the point, but after that, it is what it is. Fine. You sit on a mask on a plane, does it make any sense? And then you eat, you take it off, you put it back. It makes no sense. But it makes sense to them. Whoever is in that consciousness, them could be some of us too. Right? Some of us are still also trapped in that. Never. I mean, it's terrible. It's a terrible market. But the point is that we have, when COVID came, was the first plague. The first market was that it cracked it cracked the water. How do we know how powerful? Who created that cause of that? There are 70 sarim. There are 70 masters that when it's like, the this grape juice thing. I don't have it, but I saw it. It has like the bechers, and then you pour in the big one, and then it goes into all of them. Okay. There's the master, the big one, the big guy, and then you pour the wine in there, and he gives. When we went in, before Golas, the Zman Abayas, we were right on top. We received straight connection. We were so in tune, we were so present, we didn't even know what was flying. We were just having the times of our lives. We were sitting, stuff was growing. You didn't work the 7th year Shemitah, and then it took 1 year to grow, and there was enough food. It was like, matter of fact, Shlomo Melech, at the time of Shlomo Melech, there was gold growing on the trees. Apples, gold apples. He figured out geographically where it's at. There's like the sun shines here. No animal ever crossed paths over here. At this time, start digging over here. Exactly this time, you're going to they brought it up, planted it, gold is growing. I mean, there was nothing. They knew everything. They figured it all out. After that, we went into Gullets because we can look at it from the negative, but also we are right now panim b'panim. We're going into the positive. The reason that happened is because we finished the work where there was a Beis Hamikdash. Beis Hamikdash was just there to bounce. It was like a wall back at us to understand what we have within us. Now Beis Hamikdash is taken away, and we have it within us. We are walking Beis Hamikdash. We are walking fire. We are walking light. Our job now is the third Beis Hamikdash is going to be built out of fire, and it won't be destroyed. Why won't the third Beis Hamikdash be destroyed? Because fire, you can't destroy fire. Once you see the truth, you can't unsee the truth. Once you pour water onto the coffee, you can't turn it back into coffee. It's already liquid. That's what we're dealing with. Each and every one of us, in the place of fragmentation, we get sprinkled with the water that's going to melt away the barriers and all the blockages, and then we become one. And what happens when you start bringing these master brains together? Am Chacham V'Novan, something that has a brain that operates on such high voltage that can figure out 2,500 years of exile, of restriction, and still be who we are. You can't mess with that. It's the highest conscience. Now, Adam Rishon. Where is Adam Rishon coming from? Where are we coming from? Who are we? So, there is Hoya, what was, the past, Hoiva, present moment, and Yia, the future. The Hoya and the Yia, the past and the future, was just created when we ate from the Eitz Hadas. That's when the past and the future was created. Adam Rishon, before the Eitz Hadas, he was in the Hoiva, he was in the present moment. Everything was perfectly aligned. Okay? Nachash, we ate from the Eitz Hadas, and the Nachash, we're in the Nachash skin. Okay, he had a yichud with Chava, and this is where we are. We're living through that. So there's an illusion of the past and the future. Now, if so let's put it this way. You have like this. Alba Machshava, the master consciousness, had a thought. B'ni B'chari Yisrael. Now let's go like this. We have to, in order for us to manifest something, I have to think about it. I have to share it with my husband, with my wife, and then go out and make the money, and then I can manifest it 2, 4, or 5 years later. There is what I have, a house, let's just say. Okay. Him, high conscience, he doesn't have to do that. He thinks and it creates. Okay, we are here right now, a thought of his. He's thinking of us, and here we are. The minute he stops thinking, we're not here anymore. That's why Rosh Hashanah and I, there's such fear and awe, that we can't feel, but the tzaddikim are experiencing it. It's a very intense moment because he's deciding then if he's going to renew the world or not. He's debating. He needs to be triggered. He needs to be excited. He needs to create a desire. It's going to be a yichud, a husband, a wife. I'm not in the mood. Okay, I had a hard day. I'm not in the mood. You guys are not triggering me to create a world again, and I may not. So that's why, by design, he planted 36 Lamed Vav hidden and revealed. So it's 2 times 36. And they're holding. No matter what, the world is going to come down. There's going to be world tomorrow. because by design he wanted it that, and he's manifesting into his 36 loyalists that are not moving and not budging. However, it's how we are going to receive it. It's up to me to align myself how my year is going to be. Okay, which we do work on that too. Don't stress over it. We got it covered. So now he had the first thought he had was B'ni B'chari Yisrael, my firstborn child. He had that thought. Okay, B'ni B'chari Yisrael. He had to think of it, and here we are. Which means that the first seed of Chachma, the first thought that he had was my firstborn child Yisrael. From there, it went in, that thought went into Malchus, which is Shechina, which is the feminine. Okay? Now, if there is no past and there is no future, there's only the present moment, and his first thought was, B'ni B'chari Yisrael, what is he thinking? If I have no past and no future, and all I'm thinking is, all there is the present moment, and the present moment is Moshe, what am I thinking? Moshe. Selah, forever. That's all that's going on. One thought, first thought, B'ni B'chari Yisrael, and his first thought was my nation Yisrael, my child called Yisrael, which is Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and here we are. Now, as a result from that, as this massive thought landed into existence, also into time and space, into Malchus, into time and space, everything else was created from there, which is the table, the roads, the 70 nations, everything else was created from there. I think I didn't cover the 70 nations. I want to go back and then we'll come back to it. It's important. Who gains when you are in pain, when you're suffering? Who gains from that? When you are spinning, when you're having anxiety, when you are having fear, the news causing fear, they keep coming up with new ideas how to keep you under their fear. Who gains from that? Who gains from that is as follows. Since we went into Galus, we went into exile because to trigger us, just like the child is triggered so he can wake up at the age of 18, 19 to become aware of his ability and his possibilities and his whatever he can accomplish. These 70 nations are low consciousness. They're lower frequency, different or twisted. They're different. He has agendas. He loves, the French love wine and the American loves burgers, whatever it is. If I'm simcha, if I'm happy, and I'm at and let's just say they're vibing at 3, 4, 5, 6, or the Germans were Reishis Amalek, they were also almost there. Which is, we're still dealing with them. Not that, I'm talking about Amalek as a consciousness, which is the coldness and all that. We did that poem. The minute I raise my consciousness to 5 or 6 or 7, I'm no longer affected by 4 and 5 and by 3. Because when I drink enough wine, I'm not afraid of the Ukraine war. Okay? So if I'm not afraid of the Ukraine war, I'm not paying my taxes for the Ukraine war, which means that I have no fear. If I'm not afraid of COVID anymore, that means that I'm not signed up to the 4 and 5 consciousness. I'm vibing at 8 and 9. And you can eat my dust. I'm not there. So he's going to do everything in his power to pull you back down. And when you're in fear, you're feeding him. You're giving him, that's where he eats from. That's where you pay your taxes. When you are on Instagram and all the other stuff, and the flashes are coming, Pesach, the day after Pesach, you already find the ads for the Sukkot program. And Hanukkah, there's already the Pesach program. I'm like, leave me alone. Like, really, you're corrupting everything. You're ruining the moment. I want to do Hanukkah, 8 days. I want to then, after I've done it, I want to live off of that for the next 3 months. Then I want to do Tu B'Shvat. And then I want to do Yutas Kislev. And then I want to do Purim. And then I want 30 days to prepare for Pesach. What are you hacking and shining for? But we're all spinning to rob you from the moment. On every level. Because as soon as summer is there, I already have deals now for winter clothes. And winter clothes are summer clothes. So I'm like, I'm keeping up, and nebuch, the people that are in das tachten are doing it. So my girl comes home, I'm like, I want, I need, I have to. And you're like, oh, poor thing. That's the snake crying in the voice of a little child. Now we have to know how to deal with that with chachma. We have to be very careful, because we wouldn't want nochash to grab it, we have to deal with it. Fine. The first thing is to know at heart that it's just a game. And if you find with yourself, you're going to bust that bubble. So now it's as follows. The only thought that's happening is Allah Moshe B'ni B'chayri Yisrael. That's where we're coming from, and that's what's reverberating at the whole constantly. That's what's hitting. Once we ate from the Eitz Hadas, Chava, feminine, which is coming, it's a part of the masculine. It's a part of we were all one, and then we were split. Why were we split? We were split into two to be triggered, because as Adam was, he was lavado, he was alone, he was lonely, he was bored. It's like, I need something to trigger. Like I'm bored. He interacted with all the animals. I'm like, there's nobody to talk to over here. I need some action. I need somebody to get me nervous, or somebody to make me appreciate when I come home. It's like say that I'm gonna split some. I'm gonna make you aware of something within you. He pulled out something from his bag and he showed him. Like, okay, now we're talking. Now, Chava went and she ate from the Eitz Hadas. She triggered Adam ate from the Eitz Hadas too. Why? Because the feminine is called Malchus. Malchus is Leslie Megam. We're going to start going fast. We're going to cover it again. Malchus is Leslie Megam Klum. Malchus needs nothing. She's perfectly fine. The woman is so surrendered. She's fine. I'll cook dinner. I'll clean the house. I'll do this. I'll do that. Selfless. Okay. Who puts something into their body to give birth to something else? Something that's selfless. I'm surrendered to whatever. I'm giving up myself for something else. Okay. Now, because she's selfless, she was also full color. She wanted to see world in full color. She wanted to experience world in full color. She wanted to give birth to something in full color. Touching on a topic, but we'll get into that. Once we did that, that's where the avodah started. We started doing, Abisha said, he's like, okay, fine. The chet Eitz Hadas is not called a sin. Chet does not have sin. It's a Christian word. Sin is a Christian word. The word sin does not exist in our vocabulary. No such thing as a sin. Chet is a mark. He missed the mark. He hit the mark over there, so he took the arrow and he shot the arrow over there, and here we are dealing with this 6,000 years of waking up to wherever we landed to. In other words, you take the arrow and you shoot it into the ocean deep in, you anchor it and you land, and now we're like, what's going on? Where am I over here? What do I want? And this is what we're experiencing right now. Just you open up the bottle of seltzer and it starts, the gas, the fizz is going everywhere until it calms down. This is what we've been doing for the last 5,000 years. The bottle was opened and we're all over the place and we're like, what's going on over here? But it's just a movie. It's not really 5,000 years because time and space is an illusion. It's just a fog, and once you remove it, we have moments that we can look into it. We have moments that we can process that. Purim, Pesach, we have moments that it's open. The door is open, and you catch it one time, and it breaks. It melts away the barriers. So now, you're going to work 6 days. 6 days are the 6 middays. Chesed geworden the first netzach hodisoi. Okay, fine.
Every day is different. Sundays it's
Sunday is chesed. Monday is geworden the first netzach hodisoi. Shabbos is malchus. Okay. But yeah, boy panei Shabbos malchus. And now it's like this. The 6 days that the masculine energy, we're going to take out this thing, husband and wife. Masculine energy, feminine energy. It's much easier because if you do husband and wife, it's like, I hate him, I like him, I don't like him. I hate her, she goes to my nerves. It's masculine and feminine. Energy. The minute you do that, it's like when you're in the car and you're trying to take your hand out of the sweater, and you're pulling, and then finally you get it out. When you do the masculine and the feminine, you're changing the whole dynamic. I'm no longer in all the projections about my husband and my wife. I'm just in energy world. Okay. 6 days of the week we're out there, we're going, we're flying, and by the time you come back, imagine being at war, watching horror movies for 6 days. watching a horror movie, parnasa, children, a wife, my friends, and I'm a loser, and I'm a winner, and I need to, and I want to make my wife happy, and I can't, and I'm a bigger loser, all that stuff, right? Now comes Shabbos, and we need to bring that, rein that back in, to bring that back in. So Shabbos, the 6 days of the week, the fire, his energy goes into everything that we do, and each and every one of us has a mission that we need to go do for 6 days, to rectify. Rectifying means to bring das, consciousness, connection into everything that you are doing, everything that we are doing, to bring connection into that. I'm having a hard day, where's the love in that? What's the message in this? It can be bad. What do I need to learn from this? I had a hard day today, but you know what? Now I'm feeling better. I'm going to the gym, I'm going to the schwitz, I'm going for a run. Everything is a tefillah, everything is to bring mindfulness into that. And that is exactly what Mitzrayim looked like. We are in the heat, the whole week we are in the heat, we're crumbled up. Not anymore, but we are. Then comes Shabbos, and Shabbos is when there's a liyas or elumis. The consciousness, everything raises, it goes from Asiya to Yetzirah, Bria, into Atzilus. In Atzilus is where everything is one with oneness. We are connected to oneness. We are one with creation, one with Creator. Okay? Now, who's going to do that job? Who is going to bring that wild energy that's out there watching horror movies all day, all week? Who's going to, hello, it's right here, because you don't know where you are. You're in the ocean, you're deep in there, you have no clue where you are. That is the feminine. The feminine is, what's the feminine? Feminine is a nashim daitem kalos. Ever heard that expression? It's something you should hear because it's something they use a lot in where we come from, that the women are not that smart. Okay? Daitem kalos, their das is weak. Okay? So now I'll tell you what that means. Daitem kalos means that the masculine needs das. We need to connect because we have such a big ego and it's all about me and I need to understand what's going on. A woman doesn't need to understand nothing. She's very present, exactly where it's at. So they don't need the das. They are malchus. They're very present where it's at. Don't get me wrong. There's the work cut out for everybody because we've all been damaged and all that. But this is really innately, a woman is very present. So the woman comes, and Shabbos, you're not allowed to light any fire. You're not allowed to bring any fire. What does that mean, you're not allowed to light any fire? I'm not allowed to do any work to trigger. The whole week I have to do work. I have to do stuff to make it happen. Shabbos, don't do anything because we are going into Atzilus. We are one. You don't need to do anything in order to connect. As a matter of fact, if you do anything, you're going to be machal my day because you are in my palace right now. And you are connected to me, and imagine, who told me this, Moshe? Somebody said this to me. Imagine somebody takes you out for a dinner, and he pays, it's a $2,000 dinner. He's like, I want to treat you and your wife, let's go out. And he pays the bill, and he gives the tip 18%, and he gives 200, whatever it is. He gives a $200 tip, and then you go and you add another $50 on top of that. That would be very insulting. Okay, the quarter is off. That would be very, battery died. That would be very insulting because what I just did is not good enough. What I just did, you're basically questioning what I did. I don't know when it went out, but I'll start this one. We're done in a few minutes. So too, when it comes Shabbos, it's a time of where we are completely connected. We're going into a higher conscious. Now, everything that happens up there has to manifest in Asiya, into physical doing it. Pesach, we're going in. How do we imitate the Moich Ha'av, that tip of Moich Ha'av that brings the das into us, is by eating matzah, something that's completely dry and tasteless. It has no ego, zero ego. It's completely. We'll cover it again. I'm just putting it in there. Shabbos is by lighting the candles. When a woman goes in to light the candles, you are connecting to the fire of Atzilus. You're connecting to the fire of oneness, and you're bringing all the work that was done all the hardship that happened throughout the week, you're bringing it into inviting it boy kala, and covering your eyes, Leslie Megar Maklum, going into complete zero expectations, being present with yourself, and lighting the candles, being present with yourself, and from that place, it's like the ground. Earth is a very funny thing. Earth is Malchus. It's Leslie Megar Maklum. You can build a house in it. You can walk in it. You can spit in it. You can take a leak in it. But also, the minute you put water on it, you put a seed in it, it grows. It does whatever you want it to do. It's responding to you in real time. Whatever you do, it's responding. So too is Malchus, which is the feminine, which is Shchina, representing to complete surrender to whatever is happening, welcoming, starting from everything that we've worked, all the plantation that we did throughout the week is coming into Malchus, and now it's time to grow the tree. So it's a time where you can connect with yourself, ask for what you want, and you don't need to understand, because Nashim Dait and Kabbos, you don't need to figure it out. Just ask and be one with what you're requesting, and make sure that it's coming from a real place. From a more real place that you're sending this desire from, the sooner it's going to manifest or emanate, because it has less filters to break through to come back to you. Be present, visualize it, picture it, imagine it, put some money into the pushka, be present with it, and immediately the tree should start growing. So
it's a real place, just that you really want to.
It's a real place, and just to for the experiment, to prove to yourself, ask for something that's really, you can work for 6 days of the week to what's really important to me. What do I really want? I want the well-being of my child. I want to have clarity, alignment with my children, alignment with myself. Remember something. We are an Ezer Kenegdoi. If I'm in a good mood, if I am in a proper alignment, what's coming at me is going to have to align itself with me. More power to the masculine. The masculine has more power. He can actually ruin a good moment because he's the provider, so he has that koyach. But together, that's why we're doing this from both sides. And if both are aligned, you can have the most vicious moment or argument. But if you have the alignment that, okay, let's put the swords down, let's get aligned, it's an important moment. And if you need to, let's say l'chaim, say l'chaim. I mean, this is no different than taking pills for anxiety. It's actually recommended, and that is not recommended. So that's who we are, and that's what's really asked of us. L'chaim. Any questions?
In the beginning you said that both of them have to be aligned in order for it to work, but you ended it, you said more like that if your light is so strong, you will kind of like align the other person. So
Yes, because I don't want to fool myself. If the husband comes home and he's completely crazy, cuckoo, you can be as cute as you want. He's going to overpower that and destroy that in a second.
which pair wins? I guess the negative.
What's that?
I guess the negative pair wins. Like if you come home and you're positive and you're
So 1 second. So everybody in this consciousness here, the masculine is doing the work. We're aware of it.
that's what I want to know.
So
If
we're
the
just-
masculine does all the work, then it should have meant to pick up the feminine.
Correct. So now that's why we're doing it from this side also.
Why didn't you do it from the feminine side?
Because the feminine also went through abuse, also went through destruction. You know, where you were not able to fully express. The way we were raised is that you're not allowed to express. Let's put it this way: we hurt where we were hurt. If our machanchim were hurt and they did not express themselves, then there's only that much I know about expression. There's only that much I know how to show up and be present when I need to be present with myself or with my spouse. So if we're both aligning the dials, we're tuning in, we're dialing in. Let's see what happens.
You said about like not letting it through with everything, whether it's cool or build or whatever. What's the fine line between But not being in fear and then like doing the shabbos, doing what you need to do.
The fine line is doing ishtabos and not being fair. If it's anything that is going to create stress, let's say you watch a proper yid, an elche yid walk outside, you will never see him drunk. Present. I can't be in two places at one time. I'm working, I'm doing, let it flow. And we're going to work on that shefa versus we think that all these inspirational, motivational speakers work hard, put in more. No. Chazarai. Not true, false, 100% clip. Because shefa means abundance. Abundance can only happen if I'm in, let's put it this way, if I'm like this, I'm receiving. But if I'm like this and I'm working, how can I receive? I can't receive, I'm blocking my flow. The harder I work and the more intense it is, the less I'm going to be in flow. So if I go out there and I do my job, if I'm in a spin, I'm out of flow. And I tell the Chevra, if 12:30 is your time to eat, and usually what we say is, let me just finish these three things and then I'm going to eat, you're out of flow. You're out of flow because 1:30 is going to turn into 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock, your wife is going to call you to ask you something. They're like, now you're bothering me? You're going to pick up your kids from that place, and they're dealing with a mom that just got the phone slammed in her. And then Tati comes home, and he's meeting a wife and kids that just met a mommy that a Tati hung with the phone 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, because he didn't, or he didn't go to the bathroom. I'll go when I'm done. I'll go. Just a minute. I'm going to hold it in, then I'll go. This is what you're dealing with. And now you have a week of drama because I denied myself my space. I hear you, but I need to go to the bathroom now. I'll be right back.
How do you stop a flow? Let's say if it's a negative flow, how do you stop it?
Breaking out. Change the cycle. Change the. We got to do something radical. Thank you. What's your name? I'm sorry. I know your husband.
Moshe.
All right. Thank you. I guess we'll catch him on the other side. You have to do something radical to break it, to break the shell, something to stop, and it can be something out of. What's that?
She said it sounds like you're talking to me. Like everything's making a lot of sense.
You have to do, in order to break out, you have to do something radical, and radical can mean something like as if what I do with the guys is, snooze is one of the biggest destructionist clipper that exists. Okay, because remember, look at this. We're going in already to the next year. We are satellite dishes. We receive. The way my lens, my windshield, the way my glasses, the way they're clean, that's how I'm going to see. Okay. We go to sleep. When we wake up, now that you know that you no longer exist in 12 inches from the beginning of the head to the end of your head, you are just a whole kaima going all the way back to B'nai B'chori Yisrael. That's huge. You're a CEO of a big company. You're carrying a lot. All your ancestors that are not here anymore are coming through your kav. Okay? And then your children, it just keeps going. When I my intention is to get up 8 o'clock and I keep snoozing, that means that I'm waking up. Imagine like you open up the valve and it pours in, I close it. Pours in, I close it. By the time I wake up, I'm already deep under the water. Like an hour and a half later. After the guys come in, his alarm clock goes up 5:30, gets out of bed 8:30. I'm like, this session is done. Okay, I'll tell you, what you have to do is, if you want to get up 11 o'clock, that's fine. Set your alarm for 11 o'clock. Whenever your intention is to get up, that's when you get up. Military style, no chachmas. If you want to sleep in, the kol hakavod. But the on and off, what happens is that you get up in a complete state of confusion. That's where Pari gets you. That's why he designed it. He gets you in a state of confusion. When I'm confused, that's where he gets me. So by breaking out of a cycle, doing something radical, it could be even like getting up when I set my mind to get up. You can go back to sleep 2 hours later. Getting up, which means what happens is that I like to say like 3 things that are going to ground me. 3 things that are going to keep me structured, which is I get up on time, I eat on time, my workout, whatever your grounding is, the 3 items that you do. Then when confusion comes in, 12:30 or 1 o'clock, when your husband and you're getting into that little thing that doesn't go the way you want, school, whatever it is, I go back to my breath. I go back to where I'm at. This is my structure. This is where I'm holding. This is who I am. This is what I'm going back to. So we need grounding wires. We need grounding chains in order to, when I'm having not such a good moment, when I'm getting into an argument, I have my grounding. I am a person. My dependency is not on my husband's well-being. I have my well-being too. I'm a person. I'm holding. And when you hold that, then he comes home a little shaky, but he's meeting something that's very grounded. I'm present. And even if he says something out of line, I'm still present because my existence does not depend on your mood. Of course,
No, if we are in a bad mood, not if he's.
Then he comes. Then that's why you have the Azer connector. That's his job. But he's already motivated now because he got a taste of the light. I mean, he's motivated now. Hey, what's going on? What's up? There's already. We're dealing with people here. You come back from Uman after 3 days, a week, and having completely checked out, and I was here. Okay. I understand. I just need the ground and energy. It's like what I like to say is we need to deal with life like a soup that is too salty. If I oversalted a soup, I don't get into a spin. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? It's end of the world. I'm just adding more water and more vegetables or more sugar to the cake, whatever it is. I can put a custard on top. It's not the end of the world. When my day is too heavy, now I have the tools to look at it. If my wife is upset or if my husband is upset, there's too many gevuras here. There's too much dinner. Too much. What can I do to sweeten the deal? Either get out of his way. Maybe he just needs dinner. Don't get involved in it right now because once he eats, it's going to be fine. But if I get into the spin right now with him, when he calms down, he's going to feel like an idiot. So his ego is not going to let him apologize to me. And then I'm going to be like, well, me to apologize to you? You apologize to me. I cooked dinner for you. But really, he's just embarrassed because he feels like an idiot. He's been doing it for 10 years. But if you're just like, eat your dinner, I'll see you soon. That's what my wife does to me. Here's your food. I'm going to see you in 15 minutes. Thank you. 15 minutes, it was like a level of, like, how are you? How was your day? Good. That's the spiel.
Life is a spiel.
It's a pyramid
It
spiel.
is an illusion to say, right?
Huh?
It's a
Say your
pyramid
life
spiel.
is an illusion. So.
Yes, yes.
It's a
all
pyramid
about
spiel.
adding salt to sugar.
Chesed and Gevurah. That's what it is.
You also said about lighting the candles, it should be aligned, and then you said also you should be in one. You meaning to say the same thing, and one in alignment as in being present in the moment of what you want to ask for, right?
There's 2 things. There is, first of all, I'm lighting the candles. I'm present, I'm lighting the candles. And then you can go, you go deeper. Then you can go into what are my desires? What am I feeling? What's my heart? What's my gut pounding? What do I want? I want the well-being of my children. I want the well-being of my home, my husband, myself. I want love, self-love for myself. Watch that growing on you, and when it grows within you and emanating from you, the response is you're going to meet that response from the people around you. Especially now that we are doing the work from that side, and we're doing the work over here, so we're going to understand each other. What's happening? It's a special moment. We're going into the day of. You work so hard, I get it, the stress and all that, and you work so hard, and you have to put up with my stress. We're starting to have compassion for each other instead of this, now you're here, I'm not in the mood, I'm not here, I'm not ready, I don't want to see it, whatever, I'm just using examples. Once I make space for it, and then we create space from the other side too, whatever we have to do over there, and this is where Boy Kalaf and Shabbos Malchus. We welcome the Queen. The Queen is the Shechina, which is the feminine. It's the feminine, physical manifestation, and also the emotional manifestation, the feminine within us. That I can just be with my wife and kids. Let the talk go by the table, but we're just present, or whatever is going on.
Of course, so you were trying to say that we should request what we desire. What if we request something that we think it's important, but it's not the emotional?
So I was asking, what's your name? I know your husband?
What's your name?
Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So you're saying it's a desire. What if I request something that is not from the heart? It's just from the mind. I want to have El Kinder, but I'm not in that. Of course, everybody wants. But I mean, just saying, like,
So,
let's say I want my husband to have a panusa. It's not right because it's not. I can say I don't want to work so hard, but to ask for my husband makes panusa is more like a mental. It's a thing that I'm asking, not an emotional thing. Thank you. What's your name?
I'm Rifki Broyer.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Beautiful
much.
stars. Thank you.
Rifki here.
Oh, Rifki.
Thank you so much for the beautiful stars.
Someone is responding.
thank you.
Rifki, we see you. She saw you. Go
Let
there.
me see your face. I want to see you.
That's,
This way, she
Her
sleeps.
name is Rifki Menzer.
This way, she sleeps.
no, she's talking to her, I think. No, that's the Mentor we're going back and forth on that. Okay. So,
There's
yeah.
Rifki Menzer.
So
To me,
yes.
say if I request something from the mind, nicht from the heart. That's not called a line.
You have the power to go to your heart, to the gut. That's where you want to go to. Right? Rivka Menu, she Yitzchak had to daven for her, but really the feminine has more power still, because you're the receiver. The feminine is more aligned with receiving. The feminine is a satellite dish that has triggers, very positive triggers. It's fully. The masculine has to give, and then he has to receive. The feminine is just receiving, just being present with the request. So that's why be more real. Request for something that is dear to you, something that you want with it. Make it your desire, and from that place, you shall receive. You shall receive, and also we're going to go into yichud. We're going to do that to understand how powerful it is when the husband and wife are together. What's really happening, what we're capable of doing, because we have das, we have something that nobody else has. We have free choice. No other thing in the world, no other creation has free choice like we do.
We
Sometimes
mean
we
as
feel like we don't
as
have.
Yidden
Yes.
or women?
Human beings.
Human. Yeah.
Together with the woman.
Sometimes we feel like we don't have a choice. Like default response. Like
Yeah,
just
that's
lose
part of it. We're working on it. We're getting out. I mean, slowly
Right.
or fast, or however fast
I
you
have,
want
I
to
have a
go.
question. When you say higher consciousness or lower consciousness, what's the higher consciousness? The body or the soul?
The body's not the higher consciousness. The body's the lower consciousness.
Because for me, it's like more of a work, of a struggle to get into my body, which I keep hearing: get into your body, like go
Very
to your
good.
innate feeling instead of going to your mind, like.
Very good.
And I'm like confused. Is that my lower consciousness, or is that?
Very good. So what happened is that the body is the lower consciousness, and the mind, let's call it for now the mind, is the higher consciousness. My spirit, my desire. However, the goal is that our he wants to be expressed in Welt. He wanted to be expressed. He wanted to be able to. He wanted something to eat a strawberry, bless it, taste it, feel it, and be present with it. That's what he wants. There is no other creation in the world that can do this. That can speak and eat and taste and say, "Wow, this is delicious. How did you make it? Who made it? Wow, you did this." Nobody else. That's him expressing himself here in Welt. Different levels of it.
In a bodily form.
But the body was captured by Pare. The body was hijacked by Pare. The body was hijacked. Remember when Moshe went to Pare and he said, "We're going out to do karbanos, we're going to daven for 3 days." He's like, after he got 6 markers already over his head, his economy was breaking, people were dying. He's like, "Okay, who's going?" He's like, "I'm going. The men, the women, the children, and the cattle." And he's like, nice, good luck. You can take the alta buckets, you can take the old egos, the big body you can take, but the children are staying with me. The innocence I'm keeping. Because he knew once he gives up the innocence, it's game over. Because the child knows exactly where it's at. The child knows when Tati and Mommy are okay or not. He may not need to express it, but he knows. He feels it. Haraya, look at you and us and every one of us. Tati was all good that we're not talking or are talking. And what are you dealing with? So the body was captured, was hijacked. And what we're doing now is we're waking it up. Why was it hijacked? Because of the promise that the Eibishter made to Avram, that I'm going to put you through a process that each and every one of us are going to be able to experience that experience. So in order for me to be now, I have full language, I have full color. Now we know what Chava is, let's eat today to because now I know my feelings, I have an opinion, and I want to create, I want to make, I want something nice. It's a language that it's so advanced that 20 years ago we didn't have this language the way our kids have now. It's a whole new evolution, right? So this is Tachlis HaKavana. So the answer is yes. Chassidus teaches us to indulge, to feel in our bodies, to feel and be fully present in the body. Eat that sandwich with the way you like it, and be present while you eat it. Don't be on your phone. Now you're becoming.
That's my problem, you know.
Exactly. So if you want to eat that sandwich, if you want to have an amazing time,
run away.
Be present with the amazing time. That's what Chassidus. That's what the Baal Shem Tov is teaching us.
It brings it up, right?
Yes, that's exactly what we're here for. To bring it up. That's the Tachlis HaKavana. Right? All right. So thank you so much, all.
Are we gonna?
You said something about earlier, like it's. You were saying why Taka did Hashem create the world, and I didn't understand the answer.
Why what?
You said Taka, why did Hashem create the world? Why? And I didn't understand the answer.
Yeah.
I think the answer wasn't
The answer
presented
is
at the end.
the simple. The quick answer is. He had a desire. He had a taiva
I can hope
to create a world.
If anyone wants the
And on a desire, we don't ask any questions.
Okay, that's
I
good.
want you to meditate on that.
Yeah, it's good because of a desire, blik me nicht kein Kasches. Hello.
So understand. I want you to, and from that place, light the candles.
There I lost you.
What's that?
There I lost it.
From this place, you should light the candles.
From the desire.
I'm going to explain that again. She asked why the desire, why he did create the world. Why did he do it? Because he had a desire. He had a tithe. And on a desire, you don't ask any questions. You just want that piece of cake. Don't ask me why. It's something that I want. From this place of want, that's where you light the candles. That's where you ask from. That's where you're connecting with his desire. And because we are connected to the first desire, Allah b'machshava, b'ni b'chari Yisrael, you can grow a tree instantly. The only thing that's stopping us from manifesting something that we want immediately is our ego. Because in my mind, it's like, I can change my life, I can change my way of being immediately. Like, I need 10 years. It can't happen in 1 week. It happens in 1 second. You see it in 1 second. Then our ego takes him about 10 years to process what he just saw. Oh, that's what he meant. Oh, fine. So it's our egos that's there. That's the filter. And the more pain you endured, the more filters you have, and the more blockages and the more layers there is before we manifest this.
So the emotional connection, the strings attached, is an ego really?
Yeah.
That the strings that you have attached from the past, let's say, things that blockages that doesn't let you go through, is that the ego?
Yeah, it's like this. It's you have an ego. You have a body that has different pressure points. And what's that thing that, where is it? Like one of these toys, I don't know what it is. When you press it, the cabinet, you have these, the cabinets, you press it and it pops out. It's the same thing. So you have the ego, which is a beautiful thing. It's my conscious, my awareness. It's what makes me me. But then Tati give me a negative push here, and that mommy over here, like this. My Rebbe over here, crush me. Molester, God forbid, boom. Whatever it is, different triggers that suppressed and pushed me in the wrong way. Now, why? We're going in already to the third year now. Because we can't measure light. Light is endless. You can't measure light. The water in the ocean, I can't measure it. I didn't finish the symptom with the water. Okay, whatever. It's good. You can't measure light. The only way I can measure light, the fireplace. Imagine the fireplace without wood inside. Just a bowl of fire. But when I put in the logs, from the burnt pieces, I see a shape. That's where I can see what's going on. Okay? So from my negative from my ego that's been triggered negatively, I can finally see now I can measure light. So when somebody comes and is like, A, B, C, and D was done to me, I can see the potential of the light. Right?
Then we light the candles.
Because if somebody comes in, I don't know what I'm talking to. When he tells me everything he's been through, I'm like, I'm dealing with some serious light here. And I have a choice. I can do a 10-year process with them, or I can just go straight to the potential. And most of the time, they just don't want to let go because that's my whole identity. So you have to, with chachma, some medicine or whatever it is. What?
Learn to let go of it, not hold on to it.
What if?
You can learn to let go.
To let, exactly. So either to let go, but the trick is not to break it. We don't want to break, because if we were to break out of that, then we're no different than the breakers that broke us into it. This has to be done with fire, with love, compassion, kindness, soft. Except when somebody's in a spin, you need to scream at them to just get them out, because that's a kindness. That's a tremendous kindness. Instead of letting a person drown there, right, like suffocating in a spoon of water, right? Try to drown somebody in a spoon of water. It's very painful.
Yeah. For me, it's changing my voice in my head from negative bashing to.
For you, it's just to go out there and just share your thoughts.
yes, go ahead, do it.
No, but
Before I
there's
just
a voice.
I started to
It
think.
sounds it's busy until she's out there.
She's much more than that. I was thinking this time I started a new thing in my house, not now, like half a year ago, and I think it really works. I have an hour before Shabbos. Everybody sits around the table. We eat food, as I said, termeil, and I sing Shabbos songs and play, and it just makes everything so much.
Wow.
Oh, beautiful.
Wow.
My kids play chess while I light the candles. So that's when you was talking about the side there, like when the husband is in whatever, and then the kids are just like asking like normal kid stuff. I was thinking about my lesson. This is how it looks. Like they play chess. And that's same here. It's normal.
It's the most beautiful thing. You let them express. Don't.
But
tell
my
them
vision
how to
is
express.
this, like what she was saying right now. Like,
And actually, my husband helps.
Your
My husband
vision.
is fine.
Your vision, her vision.
Exactly.
We'll come together one time.
Like, yeah.
But for now, let the kids sleep,
kids,
this, that.
yeah,
It's
let
fine.
them
It's
be.
cool. Just chill. No, look.
My husband's very mad, but the kid should be quiet when I still left.
That's a beautiful thing.
It's a demand.
If you set it up like this, it's beautiful.
It's a beautiful thing. It's we were brought up in a time where there was a lot of pressure. There was a lot of we have to, we must. What good has it done? How many have left, and how many, are struggling and suffering? It's fine. We can just let them be the way they want to be. If they want to play chess, they want
No,
to
but
play
it's a problem
songs.
to demand
No,
that
but-
you be quiet.
No,
there's a
that's a
way to
beautiful
do it
thing.
in a
No,
loving
that's
way.
if he does it, I'm sure the way he does it was love and kindness.
Yeah, it
and-
came after JD.
Really?
My kids are fine, but sometimes when they want something, I was like, shh, like whatever. And they were like, but then I saw once my husband had one kid said, shh, it's in the left. So that was really cute.
Well, but in Chabad, they start lighting candles at the age of 3. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
I never did it.
If I lit with Adam, like she'll come back and she'll make me do it again.
Really, that's nice. It's a very
Why not?
Yeah.
Is it gonna be about Pesach next time?
What's that?
Next time they're gonna be about.
So we'll do about Pesach next time.
maybe like freedom from pressure, because Weisz
I
equals
gotta
to
be on the
pressure.
sofa, like,
I'm
really
the-
wanna come and have
I can still
something
have
to,
help in
Okay,
it.
so we can do, what's next week? Wednesday, we're still a week. Yeah, we'll do.
It's already after the show, it's like
So this is the word. First of all, no pressure. The whole pressure thing is not. It's a very chilled situation. The whole cleaning this room,
yeah, you really don't have to do
unacceptable.
No, I know, but
I
like,
think
it's not like when it comes
COVID's
to it,
like
I'm like,
such new
it's such a special
standards.
time. Like,
COVID.
That's
So
why
many
I'm
people like go
particularly,
100
especially now that I'm more like.
So
into-
we're gonna prepare. I mean, listen to, if you can, listen to. Maybe I'll post if you guys want this year from last night. There's stuff in there about Pesach, very nice. And then if you have